front of any movie or show
Yeah.
or anything. I can't
Yeah.
watch.
What I like about this show is it's very Jungian in a way where we've been kind of used to have a lot of movies and shows that want to convey a message, that kind of like activist show. And there's nothing wrong with that. Like, if you want to convey a message, if you want to push an agenda, do it, by all means, if you want, but don't let me smell it. If I smell it, I'm done. I'm not watching your show, I'm not watching a movie.
Yeah.
But what I really love about Breaking Bad, which, for those who didn't watch it, it's a guy in his 50s, is a high school teacher of chemistry and discovers he has cancer, and he just realizes how short of a time he has left and becomes the biggest drug meth producer of I think the world at some point, because he sells like even in Europe and stuff like that. And yeah, you just like see the progression of typical nice guy who's been passive pretty much his whole life and become this evil, powerful drug lord. And that's what I mean by Jungian, because one of the basic fundamentals of the Jungian teaching is to work on your shadow, on your evil nature, completely embrace it instead of repressing it, and then integrate it into your life so you have a choice to access it or not, versus just being a nice guy who's not capable to do any evil. And there's nothing, like, if you're not able to hurt somebody or if you're not capable of doing any kind of evil, there's no virtue in you being a good person, because it's the only thing you can do, and you're just like good and weak, and you can be bullied, basically, if you cannot stand up to a bully. And that reminds me, that brings me back to what I like about the show is they've never been, at least I didn't smell it, I didn't catch it, but at no point they try to push an agenda. They just took a guy and kind of let the character take its own journey, and they let the character just like go through the whole journey of accessing his evil and becoming changing more and more and more, and like you can see in his decision making and his rationalizations and all that shit. And I watched this show so many times, and every time it hit me at different levels. It's really, really interesting.
Yeah,
But,
I love these movies where you where we really go into the mind of the the character, and you're like, and you don't know what's real, what's not, what's true, what's good, what's bad, and you're like.
And sadly, it's becoming more rarer and rarer, because now we always try to push an agenda. So we try to have the character take decisions that are not necessarily realistic, but because they fit that agenda that we're trying to push to you, then this is gonna be the script of the movie.
Yeah.
So.
And it just reminds me that I think there's a big link between what's happening in movies and what's happening in our lives.
Yeah.
And in a lot of movies, like big Hollywood movies, there's as you're saying, there's the bad guy, the good, the bad, and the good guy is always good, and the bad guy is always bad, and we have this separation as if they don't come together, and we're really into these extremes. But there's some, not all of the movies, but I've seen some movies where you don't know if the person is good or bad. They're just like as fucked up as everyone else, and everyone has the potential of being Hitler or like the baddest of the baddest people in the world, and it can be anyone, and that's what makes
if you're not able to recognize the evil in you and the fact that you could potentially kill someone, don't consider yourself as being a good person.
Yeah, absolutely.
You gotta make peace with that, fully embrace it, integrate it, and use it, and have it like under your control.
Yeah.
And by the way, that's why you have some, you know, like those terrorist attacks or like those mass shooters. And usually, what happens when they ask the neighbors? What happens? Like they're like, "Oh, that was the nicest guy ever. I would never expect that from him."
Yeah.
Well, no shit. He's been repressing those emotions forever, like days and months and years, until he couldn't take it anymore, and then he just like fuck it, and just like shoots everybody. But
yeah, that's why like all these taboos things we can't talk about, that makes people sick. Like so many things, like I don't know, pedophilia. Like things happen, like this shit happens. We don't talk, no one talks about it, but you have to talk about it. Yeah.
So that's what got me into like the boxing thing and martial arts a little bit, but also in general, just having access to that evil. That sounds so dramatic when I say evil, but like that dark part of me, I think that played a big role in what you call